Hey, it's Eric McCoy, and welcome back. I was kind of curious on people's thoughts on this vague idea of what recovery is. We talk about recovery and what are we recovering from. And so I'd like everybody to kind of think about this for a second and kind of think about what are we recovering from? And usually the answer that we usually get from people is we're recovering from our drug abuse, right? And I thought a lot on this, and I really thought hard. I teach at a school, and I also work with clients, and I ask the question a lot. In the sense of what are we actually recovering from, and that's usually what the answer is we're recovering from our drug use. And the problem I have with that answer is, a lot of us, we talk about this as a long-term recovery, and if I'm just recovering from my substance use, that's potentially in a way short term, because it's not going to, it'll take some time for my body to start to get better and I'll get healthier and things of that nature. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's a long term aspect. A lot of people, a lot of people have a hard time with this whole lifetime, idea of, oh, I'm going to be in recovery. This is a whole lifetime scenario. But, think about this idea that yes, it's a lifetime of improving. It's a lifetime of getting better and a lifetime of getting healthier, which I don't actually see as a really bad thing. And so I've thought on this idea of what are we recovering from? And the answer that I came up with is loss, right? Loss. We've lost our health. We've lost our family. We've lost our friends. We've lost our jobs. We've lost fun. We've lost the ability to laugh in a sense. And the lifetime component of what that looks like is that for us to gain the losses back that we have lost, we have to lose something else. And the thing obviously that we have to lose is the substance of abuse, your drug of choice, whatever you want to call it. And that's ultimately what we have to lose. And it's a lifetime loss. I wrote in my book, and pain, failure, and misery are the stepping stones to success, that methamphetamine was my first true love in life. It gave me everything. It did everything for me. It gave me confidence. It gave me pleasure. It gave me enjoyment. It took care of me during, the times that I struggled. And in a sense, it was a relationship and it was a loss that ultimately at some point in time I had to give up. And that loss, I think, is always going to be there in a certain extent. Um, I hear people, a lot of times at meetings, they talk about the fact that, oh, the obsession's gone, which for me has gone. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't think about it at times. It doesn't necessarily mean at times that I'd love to go out and get high. I loved it. I did. But it almost killed me, and so at some point in time it turned against me. It was working against me, being 6'3" and weighing 130 pounds, in 2002, the last time I got arrested. It nearly almost killed me. And so loss is really what we're looking at, and that's what we ultimately are going to spend a lifetime dealing with in the process of grieving. We have to let it go. We have to ultimately get to that place of acceptance, and and so I wanted to kind of talk about that because, these are my ideas, and like the last, thing I put out is that I'm not about, I have a solution, type of idea, but this is my idea. This is an idea that I have that I've thought, really hard on, in terms of what are we actually recovering from. And again, the answer that I can come up with is loss. Loss. We have to let go, or we have to lose the thing that caused all the other losses in our life to gain back those losses, which ultimately are the most important things to me. My health's important to me, my family's important to me, my friends are important to me. Um, we've lost ourselves in a sense, and those are the things that I think are really important. You know, um, so I kind of wanted to talk about that briefly. Again, I hope people, if they're watching these videos, if you guys can definitely send me some messages, and you know, because again, I'm looking for ideas, you know, of um, you know, improvements, what we can do. We need to work together. We need to work as a team, you know, to help, you know, solve this affliction, you know, that we're ultimately dealing with. And there's not one solid answer, you know, for this thing, this epidemic, you know, and these problems that we're ultimately facing. So, thank you, and I'll see you guys soon.